Hello friends, welcome back to Education Tech channel. Today we're gonna discuss about aggregator transformation day 9 session. Okay, so I hope you have liked all my previous videos which I'm doing right now, like the zero to hero sessions on IICS. Okay, so the aggregator transformation, it is used to perform aggregations on data. Okay, we will do these kind of aggregations in SQL as well, right? If you want to find some the sum of sales or sum of employee salary. So in SQL also we will do analytical functions. Okay, analytical functions and these aggregate functions, right? So here in IICS as well, we can perform all these kind of operations in IICS. Okay, this transformation allows you to summarize data by grouping it based on one or more columns and then applying aggregate functions. So we have these kind of aggregate functions here: sum, average, count, min, and max. Okay. When it comes to the features of this aggregated transformation in ISS, we do have a group by option. I think everyone know about this group by. Okay, what it will do if you enable this group by, it will just group the data. Okay, based on your criteria. What criteria you are selecting. So based on that, it will group the data. So basically, you can say like it will grouping on one or more column. Okay, if you have department IDs, let's say 5 to 6 department IDs you have, and in each department ID you have some couple of records. Okay, if you want to get the group by data on department ID, so it will group the data based on one or more columns, right? So this means that the transformation will aggregate data for each unique combination of the specified column. So we have some kind of data and you have selected group by on department ID. So it will group the data on department ID. Okay, suppose for each department you have 5 columns, 5 records. So you are selecting sum of employee salary on department right. Then in each department, if you have 5 employees, it will group. Let's say in each employee has 5,000 salary. Okay. So 5,000 each one and into 5. 5 is a 25,000, right? So these 5 employees belong to one department. Let's say IT department. It's a testing department. So in testing, we are here grouping based on the department, right? Based on testing. If you group by testing, so it will, and you are grouping the sum of salary, one aggregate column. So sum of salaries you are grouping by department. So it will take for testing we have 5 members. Let's say 5 members. So for 5 members, what is the total? The sum of the salary it is 25, right? So for testing, it will show the sum of salary is 25,000. So in that way, we can utilize this aggregated transformation. Not only to sum, we have functions like these are the main functions which we use regularly in our project. Okay, sum, average, count, min, or max. Okay, and here we have multiple outputs. You can create multiple output groups from a single aggregated transformation. Okay, let's say different types of aggregated data you have, and that is coming from the input. If the same aggregated columns or different types of aggregated data is coming from the same input, then we can create multiple output groups. Okay, and when it comes to the performance wise, wherever we use aggregated transformation, right? So definitely the job performance will be decreased because here the Informatica what it will, if you define group by, it will compare each and every column. So in that sense, this Informatica, the server will run more on that kind of operations, right? Because it needs to uh, It needs to check each and every record, and it needs to match. If it is matching, then only it will group it, right? So it has to be done the multiple combinations of matching criteria. So in that way, the performance will decrease. The job performance will decrease. And it is also designed to handle the large volumes of data, okay, efficiently using sorted data inputs to enhance performance. If you want to enhance that aggregator transformation itself, the performance of the transformation, you have to use the sorted data. So in that way, we can increase the performance of that aggregator transformation. Let's say you are not providing any sorted input to the aggregated transformation. Then in that case, the Informatica will uh, cross-check each and every record, and if based on the criteria, so it has to match. So instead of doing that, if we provide the sorted input to the aggregated transformation, so all the sorted input will be there, right? Let's say we have a department 10. So the first is department 10. Just assume we have department 10, 20, 30. So in sorted, how it will come? Department 10, all records will come, then department 20 records, then department 30 records, right? Let's assume if you are not giving the sorted input, let's like 10, 20, 30, 10, 20, 30, 10, 20, 30. In that way, we have passing the inputs to the aggregated transformation. So the aggregated transformation, what it will compare the first value with the second value. So here we have aggregated 10, 20. First will compare with 10, 20. So it will not match. Then again, it will compare with the third one. Third record is 30. So it will not match. Again, it will compare with the 4. So 10 equal to 10. The department ID is matching. Then it will group it. So in that way, if we have, let's say, if we have some huge number of records, so in that case, the performance will definitely will decrease, right? So instead of that, if you pass the sorted input to the aggregated transformation, let's say we have some uh, one department, some particular ID department records have 1,000 records. Department 10 has 1,000 records, and Department 10 has 1,000 records. So in that way, if we have the uh, large volume of data, so in that case, if we pass the sorted input, so it will easy for aggregator to compare the values. Okay, so it will easily compare it and it will group it. So in that way, this is also one of interview question. So the interviewer will say how you can improve the performance of job. Let's say if you have some router transformation, joiners, and you have some couple of transformation in that mapping, how can you improve the performance of that job? So then you have to say, first of all, we have to give the sorted input to the transformations. If you are using aggregated transformation, then we have to give first the sorted transformation. Even in case of joiner also, we can provide the sorted input. In router also, we can pass the sorted input. So wherever it is possible, then we can use this sorted transformation, and in that way we can improve the performance of any job. Okay, and we have port configurations. So in this aggregator we'll have input and output ports. Okay, in which we do have the aggregated columns will be there, so we can specify on which column we want to do the aggregates. Okay, so let's see some best practices how we can utilize this aggregated transformation. So sorting input data. So as we discussed, we have to provide the, if possible, we have to give the sorted input. Okay, by grouping columns before it enters the aggregated transformation to improve performance. And then limiting data. Filter data before aggregation to reduce the amount of data processed and improve efficiency. So let's say, as I said before, for each department, if we have 1,000 or 1,000 of records, so in some cases you don't want to you don't want to pass all 1,000 records to each department. Okay, so in that way, There also we can filter the data before passing to the aggregator. So some particulars, let's say in the department ID, if we have the hiring date and exit dates, if we have hiring dates like 2022, 23, 24, so you don't have to pass all the records. If you want to get only on the year of 2024, so we can filter only 2024 records and we can pass it to the sorter transformation, and then we can pass it to the aggregator transformation. In that way also we can limit the data. You don't have to pass all the input records to the aggregator transformation. And use of aggregator in mapping. Ensure proper mapping of input to output ports to avoid errors in the aggregation logic. Okay, now let's see how we can do in the real time. Okay, so log into your IICS, create a mapping. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just rename it aggregated transformation. Here I have mentioned some use cases, right? Scenarios. Let's just find sum of total cost. This is the source which I'm having the transactional data here. I want to find the sum of total cost. So we do have here total cost, right? I need to sum up. So we have this total cost, right? Okay. And let's check this scenario now. Sum of total cost. So if you check in SQL also, we need to get the same result, right? Select trans ID and I'll just select some few columns. Okay. Trans ID, item type, and total cost. Total cost, right? Yeah. Total cost. What I'll do, let me keep it like this and I'll just take sum of total cost as sum total cost. Okay. From trans ID. So if you run this, okay, it is asking group by, right? Yeah. Group by, which one you will take? Let me check this. So what we'll do, we'll just group one sales channel, okay? Group by sales channel, and also we need to select this. So if you see here, this is the sum total which we have calculated, and these many records we got, okay? So we are taking sum on total cost. So this is the total cost. So if you see here, we are getting almost all the columns. Sales channel we haven't selected here. Yeah. So if you see here, we have online and offline, right? Sales channel. I don't want all this. So what I do, I just group by on sales. Now, if you see here, so what I'm doing here, I'm just grouping on the sales channel. On sales channel, I'm just calculating the total cost. So on the sales channel online, what is the sum of the total cost? This is the value. and on offline this is the value. Let's try to implement this in IICS, how we can achieve it. So here the source is a table, source table, and I'm selecting trans details. So this is the table. So let me take now the aggregator transformation. So these are the incoming fields, okay? These are the fields coming from the source, and let's go with aggregate first. Click on this aggregate. We need to perform the sum, right? So this is the output, sum total cost, okay? So this will be the decimal value, then fine. So now configure this. If you go see here, we have options here: field, system variables, parameters, built-in functions, and user-defined functions. So in built-in functions, if you see, we have the aggregator folder here. Under this, if you check, these are all the functions we have. But in real time, maximum will do average, count, and max, min, sum. These are the one functions which we will use. So what I have to do here now, I want to calculate the sum, right? I have selected the function, and what I need to pass the field here. Sum with total cost. Okay, validate. So now the expression is valid. Group by. If you want to group get the group by, then you can go and click on here group by column. So I'll just show you it. What if I don't select any group by? Okay, and how this IICS will uh, do the aggregations and what is the final output it will give. So let's check that. If you go to advanced here, we do have here the sorted input, right? If you enable this, which means we are passing the sorted input to the aggregator transformation, right? So as of now here, I'm not passing any sorted transformation here. So I'm not passing the sorted data. So I'm not enabling this option. And here, if you see the cache will be generated, the data value, data cache will be stored and intake. If you select group by functions, right? So the index cache will be created and the transaction scope is all input. And let me take the target. It is also a table. Okay, we have the tables, right? T underscore transaction. So I'll just load into that table only. T trans details. So this is all insert operation, and I'm enabling the truncate table and the field mapping. So smart map. But we have here, right? We don't have serial number, so I'm not selecting this. So if you want to get serial number, we can pass the sequence generator. So with that, we can create the sequence numbers, which we have already discussed in the previous videos, right? In expression transformation, we have discussed about this. So what I'll do, this is the value we need to get, right? This total sum value I need to pass. But unfortunately, we don't have the column in the target table. So what we can do, I'll just pass this sum value to the serial number. Okay. Now let me save it. Okay. I'll just run the mapping. Let's see how I haven't selected the group by. Please make a note of it. So let's see how we'll get how the output we will get. Let's check. But the expected output is this is one. Okay. I have selected any group by. Okay. But this is our required end output. So we got one warnings and one row has been processed. Let's check. Error. Okay, numeric value out of range. Okay, we passed the sum output column to the serial number, right? So that value we don't have. So that's why it went out of range. What I'll do, I'll just go here in the target, right? So see T underscore translator. So here what I'll do, I'll drop this column and I'll create one. Drop column. So I'm dropping this column serial number. Okay, and I'm just adding some total cost. Now let's check. So now we have this some total cost column. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just rerun the job now. Let's see now. So before you are running the mapping, please try to create a mapping task for that particular mapping, then run. Again, we got some issue here. Numeric value out of range. Why? Here, what we are getting the value 8.2, but I have given 10, right? Let me check in the mapping again. Okay, so here what we need to do, we need to refresh, right? All fields, I'll just synchronize first. So now we got some TT. Now go to field mapping. We got some TT, right? So I'll just map this. So save now. So now let's run the mapping. So we haven't selected group by option here. Let's see what we will get. So if you see now, we got only one record out of 100. From source, it read 100 records, but in target, it loaded only one record. Do you know any why it had loaded only one record? We haven't filtered any records here, right? Did we use any filters in this mapping? No. So the answer here is, if you go to this aggregator, here group 5 we haven't selected. So what it will do, by default it will push the aggregated value to the last column. Okay. Now let's check in the target. Let's see what we got. So if you see the transaction ID 100 we got. So if you see here, how many records we have in source 100. So the 100th record household, right? We got the household record, and if you see the sum total cost is this is the value. But what we expected, this is not the required one, right? We got wrong answer. So this is the one we are expecting. So if you don't select any group by in the here in the mapping, so by default we will get only the one value. This is also one of most interview question. If we don't select group by column in aggregated transformation, how many records will get as a output? So this is the question. What you need to say? If we don't select any group by in aggregator, so then by default we'll get only the last record, only not only one record. We will get the last record and the aggregated value will be pushed to the last record. So this is how you need to explain. So now let's create a group by. So what I'll do, I'll group by sales channel. So this is the only one that we have selected. So here also we have taken the sales channel. We have grouped by the sales channel. So sales channel, I need to get the sum total cost. Okay. So now save it. So let me run the mapping again. Now let's observe the output. So before it read 100 records and it loaded only one record. Now it will read 100 records and let's see how many records it will load. So it had loaded 2 records. So out of 100, it had loaded 2. So now let's check in the target table. See the 100 is and 96. We got both offline and online. So it grouped the records based on the sales channel and it pushed the total sum of total cost as this. So sum of uh, total cost in offline sales channel, this is the value. Sum of total cost in online sales channel, this is the value. So now we got the expected output, right? So observe here 39000649, 3900648987. Okay, the same values we got it. And let's see the second one. Sales channel wise total sum. Now we just observed it, right? If you don't select group by, we'll get the total cost, and if you select group by, we'll get the total cost. And let's see, find total units sold on order priority. So we need to get the total units sold based on the order priority. If you see here, so order priority we have these values. Okay, high, low, common, medium. So we have these kind of priorities. So here the question is based on order priority, on which order priority, let's say high. Okay. So let's check on this high order priority. What is the total units sold? How many units has been sold? So if you modify this query only, here what we need to do? Order priority. Order priority, comma, sum of units sold, right? Units sold as some units sold. Some transitor group by I'll select order priority where order priority is equal to H. Okay. Okay. Group by order priority. Select order priority of some units or some units sold. Let me run only those. So yeah, if you want to filter it again, we can filter it. So if you see here, so what we'll do, I'll just keep it as let's start from this where order priority is equal to H. So this is how we'll get. If you just run only this insert query, inner query, so if you run this inner query, These are the order priorities we have. HMCL. Okay. Based on high priority. And one more thing also we can do if you want to order order by some units sold descending. So this will give a proper data. So on high we got the maximum units sold. On low also we have this is in seconds time. And the common is and the medium. At last the least sold units are solding on the medium priority. Okay. And here is this is the one, right, which we want. So this is the output verified. Now let's create a mapping on this as well. Now what I'll do, so again I need to modify. I'll just drop this sum total, okay, and I'll add total units sold, okay. So now we have this, right? Total units sold value we have. Let's create them. So we have the same mapping. I'll just modify this only. And what we will do, we are not forcing the sorted data, right? Now what we will do, uh, I'll just keep here the sorted transformation. Okay. So since we have less records, you might not observe the how much time it had taken to run the particular mapping. So if we have like some records in lag, then you can identify how this sorter transformation is improving the performance of the aggregator transformation. So go to sorter. These are the incoming fields. I am sorting based on transaction ID, item type, sales channel, order priority. Which one will take? So what I'll do, I'll just take trans ID only. Anyway, it is in a sorted format only. So we all have the distinct. There is no duplicates or available. So we have all distinct values only. So go to this aggregator, and if you go to this advanced, here you have the option. So enable this. So group by now we need to modify, right? Sum total units sold decimal time. So for this sum of what I need to give units sold. Validate. Okay, this is fine. And to the target. So truncate target is we need to synchronize, right? So we got total units sold column. Now go to field mapping. What I'll do, I'll just smart map. So what total units sold equal to total units sold. I map it. So what we'll do, we'll just save now. The mapping should be valid. Okay, so it is valid now. Let me run the mapping now. So you know, right? This is the output we are expecting. So this is the output here. But filter I haven't used it. I will explain it later. Till here, what I'm Till here I have designed the mapping. So this is the value we need to get. Order priority, right? I think we haven't selected this. Group by we haven't selected, right? It is failed. Keys to be ascending. It is in ascending order. So, hmm, so it is in ascending only. Sorry. Aggregate errors. Expecting keys to be ascending. Okay. So the key value should be there because the mm, here I haven't given any primary keys, right? It should be primary key should be there. So what I'll do, I'll just remove the sorter transformation. Anyway, I'm passing in a sorted format only. Okay, go to here, group by we need to select that. Group by order priority. This is the aggregate column. Okay, save it. The mapping. So let's see what is the output we got. Again, it got failed. Oh, sorry. We in aggregated transformation we have selected this sorted, right? So let me uncheck. Let me restart the session. Sorry, mapping. This is not Informatica Power Center, right? So now we got four records. Let's check in the target table how we got the output. So if you see, we got CHLM, right? Okay, and if you want to get it in order, then we can use the sorting. Okay. So now what we are trying to achieve, we need to get only order priority H. Okay. So what I'll do, uh, go here, click here. So, and one more thing, what I'm trying to do here is I'm creating filter here after the aggregator transformation. But this is not the correct designing. Okay. What we discussed here to improve the performance of this mapping. So what we need to do, it is designed to handle large volume of data effectively with short input to enhance. Okay, you can handle input output specifying which column need to be executed format, right? And one more we seen that, right? The filter specified columns. Yeah, here in best practices. If possible, sort the input data. This we are discussed and limiting data. So this is one of the best practice to use the proper aggregator in our mapping designing. Okay. Filter data before aggregator transformation to reduce the amount of data processed and improve efficiency. So now we are gonna use this kind of best practice. Now what I'll do, I'll delete. Usually people will just create the map filter transformation after the aggregator transformation. So, but that is not the best practice. What I'll do, I'll filter the data, then I'll pass it to the aggregator. Then the load will be less on this aggregator transformation. Okay. So it will improve your performance and also the efficiency of your mapping. So filter here, filter on order priority equal to test. Okay, so let's save it. So the mapping is valid now. Let me run the mapping. So we should get only one record, right? So in filter, it will filter out the say order priority. Based on that, it will filter and then we will pass the rest of the records to the aggregator transformation. Here, what we are doing here, we are grouping it by order priority. Anyway, we don't have to select group by here because we are only passing the order priority H records only, right? So, and then we are calculating here, we are doing the aggregation. So, let's check here in the target. So, we got only H records. So, this is the unit sold. This is the total unit sold. So, in this way, you can do the multiple operations. Okay, please try to work on these scenarios, 6 scenarios, and I'll just give you this data. Okay, transaction details data, I'll give it and you can work on the examples. I hope you guys understood this aggregated transformation. If you have any doubts, please let me know in the comment section. Please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. So we'll catch up in the next session. Thank you guys. Have a great day.